God is not controlled by technology. God controls technology. The devil tries to mess with technology, but he can't do it. Let us take our Bibles and turn to a passage that should be familiar to many of you, the 18th chapter of Luke. Matthew, Mark, Luke, the third book of the New Testament. And specifically going to the 18th chapter of Luke. 18th chapter of Luke. Where you'll find these words. And he spake a parable unto them to this end, that men ought to always to pray. I'm not stuck, I'm pausing here. And not to faint. So Jesus decided that he would share with us today, saying, there was in a city a judge, which feared not God, neither regarded man. And there was a widow in that city, and she came unto him, saying, avenge me of mine adversary. And he would not for a while, but afterward he said within himself, though I fear not God, nor regard man, yet, because this widow troubleth me, I will avenge her, lest by her continual coming she weary me. And the Lord said, hear what this unjust judge saith. And shall not God avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them? I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth? The title of my message, going consistent with my theme, God is able to answer prayer. Amen. I've used the title in the past, right decision, wrong reason. You know, there are times when we find ourselves caught up in circumstances and situations that are beyond our control, and we don't know what to do. Well, actually, to be honest with you, that's not a bad thing. Just as long as your next move is to operate not with theology, but to operate with neology. You go into prayer and communicate with God. You know, God gives us this free, unpaid, well, I shouldn't say it's free because he paid the price way back on Calvary's cross. But he gave us the ability to be able to operate with the World Wide Web, right? Man did, but God was the one who brought it actually out and gave us the ability to be able to take and communicate with each other. I went through college and law school. We didn't have that. There was no such thing. Somebody told me, say, that I was getting ready to come when I was in law school and I should invest some money, and I laughed at them. I said, y'all, you got to be crazy. But it happened. But how many of you know that you have to pay on a regular basis to utilize the World Wide Web? If you got a cell phone, I say that because that's what some people call it, but a cell phone, you're going to use Wi-Fi. Or you're going to actually find yourself using your 4Gs. But the bottom line, or 5Gs, whatever number of Gs, you got 3Gs, you got some Gs, but guess what? Every month, either Verizon, who comes to me, AT&T, Xfinity, you name them, they're going to come and they're going to ask. So if you want to call somebody, you got to pay the price every month or whenever. If you don't pay, you'll call and you'll get this message. You've reached Verizon. You need to talk to us right now because we have disconnected your service because you didn't pay. And so whoever you're trying to reach in and not, You know, 911, I think, I don't know, I might be wrong, but I think 911 is the exception. But here's the point even. You still run into a situation where you're going to run into problems. If you need to call home, if you need to call a family member, if you need to share an emergency, something with someone, you can't even do it. That's right. Because they could disconnected you. Kids today, they spend more time letting their fingers do the walking. When we were kids, we used to hear let your fingers do the walking, but that meant going through the phone book, the yellow pages. Now their fingers do the walking, texting and sending out messages and messaging each other. Be right next to each other and still texting. Folks won't talk, they text. Folks won't open up their mouths, they'll text you. And then one of the worst part about texting that I see is, as a college professor, I see students using this kind of stuff that they transition it over into their writing in academic scenarios. It is troubling. So therefore, you're using that means of communication, but you're destroying your opportunities to progress your life and your future. So having said that, that's a means of communication. Facebook. You know what? There's some people, they won't even, I used to get calls from people that wish me happy birthday. I get now Facebook likes or comments on Facebook. I'm talking about even some of my own kids. I'm not talking about those who live with me. I'm talking about I got others that don't live with me. Same thing with Father's Day. You mothers know what I'm talking about. But guess what? How many of us know that if they run into a situation where they need something, they're not going to text you, they're not going to put it on Facebook, they're not going to message you, they're going to pick up the phone and they're going to call you. You ought to say amen on that. But what I'm trying to say to you is this. You got all of that means of communication. But way back on Calvary's cross, your connection was made with our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. When he bled, suffered, and died on that cross, when he shed his precious blood, when he allowed himself to be subjected to ridicule so that he could give you an ability to communicate. So guess this is how it works. When Jesus left, he said, I will send to you another. Some people say a comforter. I said, no, you need to read that again because he was a comforter. Another comforter that will bring all things back to your remembrance. And then Jesus departed after 40 days and 40 nights showing people, so they, because people got shallow minds. People don't believe what they don't see. They got to see it. So God allowed him, this is all in the plan, to be seen by people. And then what I like most about it is that when he arose, the first person he showed himself to was not a man, it was a woman. A woman who he had met years before in prostitution, in sin. And he said to her, go and sin no more. But she was the one at the sepulcher, at the grave, that he had the conversation with and said the first words that he said to anybody on earth after he arose. Go and tell my disciples and Peter that I'm alive, I'm up. And then he proceeded to go out. I'm just painting a picture for you while I go into my message so I can speed through it. The point of the matter is then, after that, he met with his disciples. Yeah, y'all know it. By the Sea of Galilee, he met with them. And then he said, I am leaving you. says, I will be with you always. Did he say always? Always. Even to the end. And so he gave us commandments. And we obey those commandments. But here's what I want you to understand. But before he left, he said to the people, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me.
Amen.
So remember when he said he would leave another comforter? And then he said, you can't communicate with the Father but by me? He departed and went up on the cloud. And the point was, people were looking up. Why were you looking up? He already told you to go. People always be doing something that they want to do when already God has given them the instruction to do something different, and then they wonder why things don't come out the way they ought to. I teach my students all the time. I said, you know why you all mess up in school? It's because you don't follow the directions. You're smart, but you try to figure out a shortcut. There is no shortcut to God. You see, the plan was to send the other comforter. The other comforter is called the Holy Ghost.
Yes.
Some people afraid to go, so I use Spirit. But the fact of the matter is that he is one that comes when you confess with your mouth and believe with your heart that God raised Jesus from the dead. The Bible says you shall be saved, and he resonates in you.
Yes.
And you are instructed not to quench him. Let him do his thing. That's right. And you to become filled with the Holy Ghost so that everything that comes out of all your members, all your hands, your mouth, your feet, your thoughts, your actions emanate from the Holy Ghost. Man, when you study for a test and you got the Holy Ghost in you, you'll get stuff back in you that you will not ever think that you could remember on your own. So the Holy Ghost is there. And then the Holy Ghost gives you the line to communicate with the Son, who is presently seated on the right hand of God the Father Almighty. But he's not just sitting there. He's doing something that White Castle thought that they invented. Said, he's one of ours. That God had that long time ago. Jesus said to the Father, because you know what the Father said? I listen to everything my Son says. Doesn't the Bible also say, when you see the Father, you see the Son? So the point of the matter is this. You begin to recognize that there's a mode of communication. And that communication gets to God from the Holy Ghost to the Son up to him. And he operates that way. That's how prayer works. That's how it works. You are praying using that mode. You do not have to pay every month to renew your subscription. It's free to you at that particular point, but you have to recognize and operate that it is all sufficient. It don't need your help. It will guide you and take you to places, higher heights, and deeper depths that you never would achieve. I went to a dynamite law school, Northwest University School of Law, where I graduated 40 years ago, but the knowledge I attained there is nothing compared to what I have attained when I took these 66 books and put them in the forefront of my life. When I started to operate and live my life, not just saying it, but walking it.
Hallelujah.
And God started doing things. I might not pastor the biggest church in the world, but guess what? I have the biggest God over it. That's what I got, so don't be hating. So anyway, having said all of that, here we are where Jesus decides in our passage to give us this parable. See, that's how God communicated a lot of things. See, let me explain something to you. You know what a parable really is? If you're not saved and you're not connected, and the Holy Ghost is not actually giving you the interpretation of what Jesus is saying, it'll sound crazy. The parable is the language of communication with the Spirit of God inside the Spirit of you, the Holy Ghost, that should connect with you and give you the answers to all of your circumstances and situations. It may not come when you want it, but it will always come on time. So he says, I want to give you this parable. And he says in this parable, he says, to remind you that you ought to pray at all times. Yes. And no matter what the circumstances, don't quit. Don't stop.
That's right.
Now, you don't always have to be on your knees. You don't always have to have your eyes closed. I pray when I drive. How many people know that it would be disastrous for me to be praying with my eyes closed and driving? God gave me common sense to know, keep your eyes on the road, son, but you can still talk to me. So the point of that is, and then you don't also have to speak out loud. Everybody ain't got to hear you. That's right. I have my wife sometimes, she'll be messing with me. She's joking when she says this, but here's the point that I hear other people say it too. They say, I didn't really hear you pray. I said, I wasn't talking to you. You can't do nothing for me like my Father can. You can't do nothing for me like God can. I love you, but you ain't all of that. He is the ultimate. A lot of people use the word awesome. I use the word awesomer. And somebody said, professor, that's not proper grammar. Yeah, but it is proper bibliology, and it is also proper theology. And it is giving recognition to He who is omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. That's what I'm doing in those times. So he says, don't faint. Somebody said to me once, I prayed to God and He didn't answer my prayer. I said, were you trying to customize your prayer? Were you looking for a certain solution in a certain way? Were you looking for a solution in a certain time? His ways are not your ways.
Amen. That's right.
He is not going to operate the way you do.
That's right.
A good parent has a child. You're not trying to be their friend. You have a responsibility to teach them and nurture them and give them the truth.
Amen.
And you to live your life in front of them, not in a hypocritical fashion, but in a way that is pleasing to God.
That's right.
And so, that's what we have to do. So the bottom line is this. God has never missed answering a prayer. Never. But you got to close those physical eyes that you got.
Yes.
And say, I don't see it. That's good. I said to somebody once, and this is a true statement of fact, I did some research. I research stuff. I do 2 Timothy 2 and 15. I study to show myself approved. Yes. A word that need not be ashamed, rightly dividing the truth. I did that in the Word, I did it in law, and I do it as a professor. So when I open my mouth and give it to you, it's coming through me, but it's not coming from me. God is the law.
Amen.
Man just put his little dirt in it and twisted and turned it to fit their own personal goals. So it says here, he said, so here's the start of the parable. He said, look, here's what the deal is. He said, now I want you to notice. He said, there was a city with a judge. Now, as soon as he said, I read this years and years ago, judge, I've been in front of a lot of judges. Y'all know, that know me. I've been in courthouses all over the place. The closest one here is Markham. I spent a lot of time, I know everybody in the building. The judges now were lawyers with me now. But the point of the matter is I've been through many places and stood in front of many judges. And I can tell you something about judges. Judges have a way that they begin, first of all, they sit high. You know, most courtrooms don't sit on the lower level. They have to be raised. And when they come in, everybody's supposed to give reverence to them. Because the clerk or the bailiff or somebody will say, all rise, here comes the judge.
Yes.
And you're supposed to pay attention to the judge. So the judge is very, 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 very important and can make things happen. But how many know that he is overruled often by God?
That's right.
He is controlled by God, even if he don't want to.
Yeah.
Pay attention to the message here, to the scenario here. So he says, for this judge, this was a bad judge. I don't mean like Michael Jackson bad. Or as we say in our community, man, you sure are bad. I have some of my white friends, they said, man, y'all put each other down like that? I said, no, in our community, bad in that vernacular means good. Don't ask me why we say it, just accept it. Folks always want to try to overanalyze simple stuff. Just go ahead and accept it the way it is, and it is. That's the way the Word of God is. You don't try to analyze it and overanalyze it. So he says, he didn't fear God, nor he regarded man. Now think about this. This is a man who's about to make a decision in your life. Who's going to decide your fate and your future. Whether you're going to win a lawsuit, whether you're going to go to jail or not go to jail, if it's a judge and not a jury. That's why I was taught when I was a criminal defense lawyer, which I was bad at that. I had a mentor, the late Honorable R.U.G. Pincham. He used to say to me, he said, son, you know how to communicate and tell a story. He says, you got a gift. He says that God has blessed you with. You're going to be good. And that was way back when I was still in law school in 77. Graduated in 78. But the point of the matter is, I began to recognize that I wanted 12 in the box. I wanted some common sense people to hear my cases and let them decide, not some lawyer. Because they trained us in law school how to be legalistic, not spiritualistic. Ooh. Sound like something in the church sometimes too, don't it? You can't do this. You can't do that. You don't do that. If you do that, this is going to happen to you. And most of what they say is not found in the Word of God.
That's it.
My Bible said to me, excuse me, sir, can I raise an issue at this point? Yes, sir. Here it is. My God said he came to set the captives free.
Yes, he did.
He came to set us free.
Yes.
But you're going to put us in bondage with legalism. The devil is a liar.
Yes, he is.
So this guy, he didn't care about God. And look, so here's a widow. And you all know how widows are perceived in the Bible. Even to this day and time, widows have their covering taken away, their husband. And they don't have the support that God gives. You know, Bible doesn't say a woman don't work, she don't eat. It said if a man don't work, he don't eat. And then I always go in, they say, no, I have to take away, but I exegetically pull this out, and that means that other people there probably will have trouble eating too. How many know, though, that God's going to get that man, and he's going to get him because he didn't do what he said?
That's right.
So this widow, she came for some help. But she came to the place of court, and the judge that she got in this case was not a good judge. And she came to him and she said, I need help. That's basically what she said. Avenge me of my adversary. Adversary is someone who's against you. Something bad is happening with this woman. We don't know what it was, but we can probably, if you ever read, I preached a sermon about the woman with the little oil where she died and her husband was gone, and Elijah told her, and you know, she ended up getting the little oil in the house, and the oil was multiplied because she did what the man of God said.
That's right.
Well, she was blessed.
Yeah.
But this woman didn't have this opportunity because that's what God's wanting to try to. Here's what God's point is in the whole message so you get it. When you're going through stuff, be persistent. Stay with it. When the judge says no, you don't get yourself found in contempt.
That's right.
But you take it to the Lord, who is over. Judges only rule, but God super rules.
Yes.
So it says she came to him, and then he ate for a while. He wouldn't do nothing. But then he began to think about it. He says, I don't care about God. I don't care about man. But I hear this woman in my courtroom, all these people looking at me. So he says, in verse number 5, which is a critical verse, he says, yet because the widow troubling me, see, look. He said, I'm going to do what she wants to, only because she getting on my nerves. Right decision, wrong reason. And so, this woman is a praying woman. How do I know? Stay tuned. You'll understand why. So it says, yet because she troubled me, I will avenge her, lest she keep coming back. Basically, what I just said a few minutes ago. She's going to keep coming and coming. She's going to keep showing up. She's very persistent at it. I tell people, be persistent at positive things. Be persistent at doing things that are good. Yeah. But don't be persistent at doing the wrong thing. Persistence pays. If it's the right thing, it'll probably turn out good. If it's the wrong thing, it's probably going to turn out bad. Such as I have many clients that I had as a criminal lawyer that they didn't hear me there. Said, if you don't change your way, you're going to end up dead. And I went to their funerals. So they were persistent at crime. God tells us, be persistent at focusing on my word in your life. Don't worry about what's on the outside. Don't worry about the circumstance, situation you find yourself in. Don't worry about those things that you're going through because it's only a test.
That's right. Amen.
So he said, yeah. So then the Lord said, now let me show you what the deal is here. He's already told you, the guy said, I'm going to do this, but I don't really want to do it, but I'm tired of seeing her show up. And if I do it, then she's going to go away. Jesus says, hear what the unjust judge said. You sit down and somebody gonna give you something. They say, I'm gonna give you this. I'm gonna bless you with it. Then they turn around and say, I really don't want to do this, but I'm doing this because you're gonna make me look bad if I don't do this. Is something wrong with that? Doesn't that diminish the gift?
Oh, yeah.
That's why God says this. If you give grudgingly, you might as well keep it. It says God loves a cheerful giver, and he blesses those who do so. Ain't your money anyway. Your name ain't on money. If your money's on, your name's on your money, and your money's on your name, then your money ain't no good.
That's right.
Ain't nothing standing behind it, even the government, which is not a good deal anyway. So anyway, look at this. Now I'm going to tell you about something, how people do things for the right, they do things for the wrong reason. I'll give you a contemporary example that just occurred here that I'm going to bring to you. Now all of you know that Senator John McCain passed away, right? Y'all know that, okay? And when Senator John McCain passed away, it was clear to everybody that the flag should be flown at half mast. That's like a routine thing, all right? Everybody knows that. Everybody respects that. Even if you disagree politically with the person, you still recognize and appreciate the thing that goes with that. But how many of you know that number 45, that's all I'm going to say, y'all know who I'm talking about, decided, I'm going to put the flag at full mast over the White House. And the people said, no, you didn't. That's basically what they did. His own constituents, his own associates, probably his own wife. The fact of the matter is that this person didn't care or regard. Because he said, I am the head honcho. Boy, you got some stuff waiting down the road for you, buddy. So then, you know what happened is ultimately all of the pressure came. And the negative press. You know, the fake news people? That's what he calls them anyway, who tell the truth.
Yeah.
But he's immune. He's allergic to the truth.
Yes.
He don't like the truth. He's like the Bizarro people. When I was a kid reading Superman books, they had these characters, the Bizarro people. Everything, they said, me hate you. That's how they said. But what that meant was love. I said, but anyway, it's a Superman book. Some of y'all too, y'all don't even know about this book, comic books. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about. But those of us who are up in age, hello. Represented here, 68 years old. Amen. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. But the fact of the matter is that you find yourself in that situation. So this guy decides, under the pressure, I better lower the flag. And it's lowered now. But how many know he did the right thing, but he did it for the wrong reason?
Amen.
And so, back to the passage here, and then I'm about done. He said, number 7, he says, God says, now, and shall God avenge his own elect, who cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them. What he is saying is this. One of the fruit of the Spirit is long suffering. That means that we have to be able to know. What did you say, Isaiah 40 and 31? Yeah, I hear you. Thank you for that word. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up on wings as eagles. They shall run and not faint.
That's right.
What that means is that let God do it. In his time, in his way. Don't matter who said no. God takes the king's heart. We've heard this before and read this. And turns it the way he wants it. And the king don't even know it. Well, that's what happened to this dude. He wasn't in charge. He still felt like, I'm still the judge. God said, I don't care what you think. I don't care what you feel. I'm doing this for the benefit of my elect, one of my people. And so, he says in the final verse, I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Got that dude to turn around and flip his whole attitude and position just like that. There wasn't no hocus pocus. He didn't have to snap his finger. He just bumped it. And it happened. That's how powerful God is. That's how good he is. Let me tell you, he's so good that when he was on the cross being crucified, and all he had to do was think, and a legion of angels would have come, and all those people would have been struck down. But that's not how he operates. Because you know why? Because the plan was for him to go through that way. You know, man is funny. Let me tell y'all something. When you're going through something, and whether it's on your job, or at school, or with any person that you know, and they putting you through, just remember one thing. God's on your side. And guess what? Amen. You're going to go through. The definition of through means there's an entrance and an exit. There's a beginning and there's an end. And so you go through those tests. And so he'll answer them speedily. Not according to your speed, but according to his speed. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, he shall find faith on earth. And so, saints of God, I'm done, but I want to say these words to you, coming down to you. I want you to know this. Don't worry about somebody fighting your battles. For God will fight your battles and have your enemies so confused.
Oh, yes.
How many know that God's never lost a battle? That he is undefeated? How many know that sometimes you begin to feel like the enemy is winning? Don't go for the okie doke. That's shadow. That's not substance. The enemy is used by God, and he's so stupid, he don't even know it. You know what made me what I am today? Some of y'all know my story about what happened to me as a child. That's what made me what I am today. It was bad. You know. You know. You know. And now you know. Let me tell you something, saints. There is no accident that God took me through that road to lead me to the 3 words that would carry me back out of the world in 87. God is able.
Yes.
But I had to go through hell to get that. But he brought me through. And I continue to be looking better. Man, I'm feeling good. My doctor said to me that she's going to be out of business if she have more people like me. She said all the tests that they do on me, they come out positive. I said, because I serve a man who, let me show you something. The cross goes this way and that way. A lot of positives are halfway. But no, the cross is higher. And that's what I stand behind. I don't stand behind the cross that have Jesus on it. If I see you with Jesus on the cross, on you, I'll just kind of like look. Now, I won't dip, but, if, I get into a conversation with them and say, are you aware of what you're wearing around your neck? Somebody gave me a gift, and it had Jesus on the cross. I said, he got up!
That's right.
He went to heaven! He didn't get back on the cross.
Hallelujah.
You're going backwards. And contrary to what some folk thought, because they plotted, he did. The real report in Neil is he's alive and he lives.